Hey everyone, Mr. Pixel here, and I'm here to teach you how to take better photos. So before we get started with this video, I just want to give you a little bit of background about me. Just real quick, I'm a photographer. I love shooting portraits, events, weddings, and family, and blah, 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 blah. So that's my background. Now, if you're watching this video, I want to assume that you want to take better pictures on your Pixel 8 Pro or any Pixel for that matter that you have. And first I want to say is that we're going to be shooting in RAW mode. This is the most important thing that we're going to be doing today is shooting in RAW mode. And I'm assuming again that you want to process your own images. So we're going to talk about all of that in this video today, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, everyone, before we head out and shoot, let's go ahead and get this camera set up. Very simple. Let's go to the camera app and we're going to go to settings, more settings. And the first thing we're going to do is go to advanced, and we're going to make sure we turn off rich color in photos. Make sure this is off. Make sure Ultra HD is off. Display P3 pretty much adds saturation to the photos like Samsung colors. We want natural colors, so we don't want that. Ultra HD, we don't want them brighten up any areas or anything in the photos because we're going to be shooting raw and we want to do all the processing ourselves, so we don't want them touching anything. So make sure that's off as well. Next thing is we're going to go to the grid and we're going to change that to 3x3. This is the same grid that you'll find in professional cameras and just professional cameras in general, or any camera that's non-professional as well. But this is what you want to shoot in, and I want you to get familiar with the grid because this is what we'll be using to pretty much compose a lot of our shots and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that later. And the next thing is, if you have a Pixel 8 Pro, then you want to go to the Pro features right over here to Pro, and you're going to make sure you turn 50 megapixel on, raw mode on, and manual. You want your lenses to be manual. You don't want automatically, and the camera chooses the lenses. We want to choose our own lenses, so it looks like this, where we can choose our lenses from your ultra wide to your telephoto. And that, we are ready to go. So let's go. So welcome back, everyone. So listen, one of the first things that a lot of people really don't talk about in photography, but you do hear this a lot, is that composition. Composition is really important in photography, and I think that is like one of the things that will make and break your shot. So that's what we're going to talk about first, is like knowing what composition is and what you should do with it. So basically what I like to do is this. If you're thinking about taking a shot, right, and you don't know how to approach the shot, just think about a normal person. What would a normal person do if they was to photograph this or photograph that? They would take their phone, they would point, and they would click it. All you gotta do is not do what they do. Pick a different angle, turn the camera this way, turn it this way, maybe look up like this, maybe go down, maybe put the phone on the ground, maybe turn it this way. Just approach it in a different way, and I promise you, you will get a nice shot. So I got the camera set up and we're ready to go. So I'm gonna use my Pixel Fold right now as a subject, just kind of to show you what I mean by this composition thing. Now, a normal person would just take the phone, right? And they would just point at the camera and boom, and they're done with their photo. And that's what they get. Now, what I mean by composition is that you wanna go ahead and just try to like get yourself down, something like this, and get a unique angle. So you will get the table in the foreground a little bit so it can kind of cause a little bit depth. And then you're gonna point at the camera and then you're gonna go ahead and take your picture, just like that. And there you produce a different angle. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's pretty cold out here, but I said I would do this video, so I'm doing this video for you guys right now. So let's get to the next position. So the sun is right there in front of me, and what you want to do is make sure that your back is pretty much turned towards the sun, and then your subject is facing the sun. So in this situation, it's the bench. So we're gonna go ahead and get a shot of the bench because the sun is hitting up here beautifully. There's no shadows anywhere besides behind it and stuff like that. So it's up to you to kind of come up with what type of creative shot that you wanna do as far as the bench. And I like to always get things at low angles. So I'm gonna start down here first. And what I'm gonna do is grab a perspective, and I'm gonna focus here on this part first, and I'm gonna get a shot and see how that looks. And then I'm gonna focus on the background and see how that looks. And I like the way this is right here, so I want to try to include these poses in here. So I'm gonna take another shot and get these in there. Now, a normal person would just take a picture of the bench. but you want to get creative shots. So one of the other big tips is light, okay? I know a lot of people love to like show off these phones and cameras and show the low light performance, but let's be real. Photography is about light, how you use it, how you represent it, what you do with it. So always make sure that you have light in some type of unique form. If it's low light, make it unique looking. Don't just point and shoot and be like, hey, my camera lights everything up evenly. That's not what you're trying to do in photography. You're not trying to even everything out. You're trying to be more on the creative part of it. So you find the light source that you have and you find a way to bend it at your creativity. Basically, you just want to use it to your advantage. Don't let people tell you that a phone is good at low light performance and all you need to do is just take a picture and call it a day and it's going to be a good picture and stuff like that because the ISO and the less noise and everything like that. And sometimes noise is good. Just remember that. Don't think that not having noise is all bad. Sometimes I add noise into my photos because it gives it a unique feel and look anyway. So just keep that in mind when you're out here shooting. Only light source I have today is the sun. So everything that I shoot, I have to use that sun to my advantage by placing my angles perfectly. And that goes back to the composition that we're just talking about. So anyways, let's get some more shots. Now just remember that every lighting condition will not be perfect for you. So sometimes you got to go in the camera and then you have to make those adjustments. So what I just showed you is a lot of point and shoot and letting the camera do all the adjustments, but sometimes you might need to make your own adjustments. And we're going to do that now. So now that we're in the camera app, we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments right here to this shot right here. And I'm going to bring the shadows up slightly. We're going to go up and I'm going to bring the focus. I'm going to make sure the focus is on that fence. So I like to manually focus sometimes and I use focus peaking. And then I'm going to go ahead and mess around with the shutter speed just a little bit. I want it to be a little bit darker so I can have a little dark look to it. And then we're just going to snap our photo. Now keep in mind, we're shooting in RAW, so we're able to change things up. All right, so this is one of those situations where the subject is not being lit up by the sun. So therefore we got a lot of shadow here and we really don't want that shadow. So this is where you're gonna have to go into the camera and actually make some adjustments. Now, it's gonna be hard to try to balance that out and this inside the camera itself because normally, again, like I told you, us photographers, we try to control the light. I have nothing over here right now to control the light. All I have is my phone and that's it. Now I can rely on auto mode for HDR, but the point is that I wanna show you exactly how to do this and change it, but you would do most of the editing in post to fix anything that you want. So sometimes it's okay to overexpose or underexpose and bring those details back. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and get a shot of this phone. Matter of fact, let me get the case off it. All right, so now that we got the case off it, we're gonna go in here into the phone and we're gonna go play with some manual controls to try to expose this as best as we can, and then the rest of it will be done in post. So we're gonna go ahead and get our composition first that we would like. And I want the sun within it. I'm gonna focus on the phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the manual focus. And I'm gonna make sure that the focus peaking is on the phone itself. And there you go. You look for your zebra stripes that's on it and you're good to go. Make sure they're up there. And now we're gonna go ahead and mess with the shutter speed just a little bit so we can make sure that we light the subject up just a little enough. And we're gonna overexpose the background just a little bit, And then I'm gonna go back and I'm actually gonna touch up on the shadows this time and see if we can raise some of these shadows. And then once we get them raised up enough, then we're gonna go ahead and take our image. There you go. And we're gonna get one more. I like to take multiple shots of the same thing, just to let you know. And there we go. So remember my conversation about lighting and how important lighting is? That goes for video as well. As you can see that I know the sun is right there and the sun is lighting me up. So I'm using the sun to be my light source and I'm using an ND filter to make sure that everything is exposed correctly. And this is the same rules that apply for photos and taking photography. That's why I use lights and I use strobe lights and everything like that, always to light up my subject when it's needed. So I'm gonna take this camera now and I'm gonna put this camera into the shadows and I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean by that. In fact, let's go ahead and just turn this here. Matter of fact, this is even better. Now, as you can see, the sun is completely behind me now, and this is not a good look because now I'm a little bit underexposed. And that's because I have the ND filter up there. So I will have to take this ND filter off See if we can get this off. Just to get exposure on me. And now look what happens. Now everything's overexposed, but you can still see me, and I'm not perfectly exposed because the shutter speeds and all that stuff that apply. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap that right back on. And there you have it. So you always wanna make sure that you have your lighting. This is why I tell you that lighting is so important. And I want you to understand that, because people always trying to judge a phone and judge a camera by its low light performance. That's only when needed. If you're that type of photographer, that's when low light is really needed. And you can, use noise reduction in editing programs or whatever it is that you need. But for the most part, as a photographer, if you can control your light, you want to control your light. Very important to remember that. Now, we're gonna still talk one more thing about composition, because besides light, composition is very important inside photography as well. Remember, if you're thinking about taking a basic shot, don't do it. Think about different angles. Matter of fact, take a shot and take multiple different angles, because you never know which one that you're gonna like. Take far away, take close up of your subject, and just play around with it, because photography is not really, it's rules to it, but the rules are really meant to be broken. Once you know the rules, break the rules. Always break the rules. Be creative. So here's another test shot right here. Here is a sign right here that I'm going to go ahead and shoot, just basic. Okay, so a basic person again will just take the picture just like this. And to be honest with you, this is actually a good shot, but we want to be a little bit more creative. So the simple thing is always go up high perspective, go from a low perspective, okay? And you can also angle, you can go straight, close perspective of low. You can get a perspective from the side, but you want to make sure that you still see the sign, okay? And then you want to get the other side, and just, this is how you do composition. Just don't sit there and take a dead on straight picture. Sorry about the fire. I'm next to a fire station. And there you have it, distraction. So with that, you're gonna go downward, and then you can back up and you can get a full shot of the whole entire thing. But like I say, you wanna get a perspective. So come down and then point the camera upward and then go up. Just get the sign itself. It's okay to have headroom, as long as your photo is in the rule of thirds. And we'll talk about the rule of thirds briefly. Sorry to interrupt this video, but I know that you're enjoying yourself right now and you're learning some valuable information, but I just wanted to tell you about my custom wallpapers that I made, and they're great. They work with any Android phone, and I also made some special ones for the Pixel phone. So if you are a Pixel person and you're watching this channel right now, go ahead and grab those. They're only $2.99 USD. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right back to this show. So with the rules of thirds, we're talking about here, here, and here. And these three boxes right here is where they want you to really take your subject and place them there. But once you learn the rules of thirds, you're allowed to break them here, 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 and here. It doesn't really have to be the rules of thirds every time you shoot, but they want you to learn that in the beginning, just so you can know to take a more flattering picture off the rip. And once you learn that, you are allowed to break all the rules in photography. And that's the beauty thing about photography, is being creative. And look, I'm not the type of photographer that shoots random objects and random things. Sometimes I do take pictures of that, but I'm more of a wedding and portrait photographer. I'm sorry today I didn't have a subject to shoot today. I had 2 of them lined up, and apparently there's like Christmas lights going on around here sometime, and people are prepared to go to that. So I think I just might take my daughter out there so she can stare at the lights like this, because she's still a baby, but she loves colors right now because she's starting to get her vision of colors. So I guess it'd be great to take her out there too. So I didn't have a subject to shoot with you guys today. So that's okay, because I hope that you still learned something today from everything that I told you already. But yeah, get out there, shoot, do your thing. And remember composition, remember light is important. Find a light source, buy light sources if you need to. You can do that with mobile photography. You don't always have to just rely on the camera and everything like that. Like I told you, we're shooting in RAW and we're doing the processing ourselves. This is important that you know how to take a better photo and you know what you're working with and stuff like that. Do not always rely on the camera to do everything. Sometimes the focus may be off, so take control of it if you can with your camera. If you can't, make sure that you lock it. Remember that you can always hold down on the screen and lock the exposure and lock everything in, and then you can get your shot from that point and move on from there. So anyways, let's head back to the studio and yeah, let's go to the studio. It's cold out here. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that you got something out of it today. So if you did, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.